50 years ago, few experts were ready to speak out about the consequences of human activity on climate deregulation and its effect on the environment. Today, scientists from everywhere are springing into action before it's too late. They are driven by the singular mission of inventorying the planet's most remote and enclave-protected flora and fauna. Namaroka is an impenetrable sanctuary in northwest Madagascar, a geographical marvel that still harbors many secrets. Its jagged cliffs give way to fascinating beauty, a stone citadel that reaches for the sky, known as the Tsingy. Over a few weeks, a team of 22 international researchers working from the French National Museum of Natural History will attempt to explore the heart of this terra incognita, a true example of biodiversity where all is yet to be discovered. The career spanning over 50 years and some 20 botanical books published in her name, Lucille Lorge knows she owes a lot to this place.
I was born in Madagascar, so it touches me in a way unlike any other place I've been to. I lived here until I was 10 years old, and it was life in paradise. It was like our own private zoo with all the animals. We grew up touching snakes with bare hands, even though the local Malagasy were terrified and would run away, which always made us laugh. But this is an incredible country. There's something of interest in the north, the south, all over. The locals are very endearing too. I love coming back to Madagascar. Let me check this out.
Since her arrival in Namaroka, Lucille has been focused on one thing: finding a plant, the legendary and mysterious Tabernae montana calcarea decari.
In 1940, Decari found a plant that's never been found again since. I've been studying that plant's entire genus, meaning the many other species, but this one is totally unknown. We only have 2 samples and they're in bad shape. We absolutely need to find that plant. It's why we're here.
Given the immense size of the area, it's like looking for a needle in a haystack. But this is the chance of a lifetime, a culmination in Lucille's career, during which she's discovered many plants for the benefit of mankind.
There are more and more diseases appearing these days that we don't know how to treat. All we can do is experimental tests. We know, for example, that antibiotics evolve very quickly. The bacteria adapt and then become resistant, which means we need increasingly complex substances for treatments. For example, something like HIV is no longer treated with a single molecule. We now use tritherapy since it's very difficult for the disease to adapt to 3 molecules at the same time. There is still so much we don't know. There are so many plant families out there with therapeutic properties, and that's what I study.
There are innumerable plants, both large and small, with therapeutic properties here. Case in point, one of the biggest, strangest-looking trees, the baobab. Accompanied by Malagasy scientists, botanist Martine Bardot-Vaucoulon is searching for new baobab species.
I hope it's easy to get there. I like these conditions, being isolated from everything and not even needing a phone. I love field work. I enjoy being in the field and doing this kind of work. We go out in the morning, we come back at night. We only get a bowl of rice at noon with a cup of hot water for the entire day. All that matters is finding and collecting the plants and flowers. Look, that's great. This one's got a bunch of leaves.
Of the 8 different baobab species that exist, 6 are endemic to Madagascar and found nowhere else on Earth.
There's some fruit left, and it's long in shape.
After many hours of walking, the team notices a noisy baobab filled with Vasa parrots at the edge of the Tsingy.
There can't be very many. I don't see any. Wait, there it is. There's one. I found one. This one must be from this year. It's still little and hasn't finished growing. We can barely see the flower petals and sepals. It must be a czar. Yes, it's a czar.
This marks the first time a scientist has found an Adansonia za in Namaroka. It's a major discovery for Martine and her team. This type of baobab is very precious, as it's highly endangered in Madagascar. A few kilometers away, the entomologists also discover something remarkable. Sinkholes are common in karst topography. They take shape as the calcium dissolves, revealing beautiful emerald green pools. This carbonate-rich water reserve is home to numerous species, most of which are arthropod phylum. A classic example of these invertebrates is the small, biting Nocturnal.
They bite.
It's a Nocturnal.
Those bite. Crocodile bite.
Be careful when you collect them, they sting like wasps.
Weren't you looking for this bug?
These are actually beetles.
Yes.
Romain Garouste, an entomologist with a PhD in ecology, collects samples with Catherine and Maurice.
We took a sample of the aquatic fauna, and we primarily found a type of water bug called a Nocturnal. These are very efficient at what they do, because they feed on other medium-sized creatures, like mosquito larvae and other sorts of aquatic beetles. They're really efficient predators that are used in some places as a natural defense against mosquitoes.
On the surface of this highly specific ecosystem, Hymenoptera are on the prowl. These much despised creatures are the focus of Claire Villemot's studies.
My plan is to have a slightly larger inventory compared to what we found in the vegetation, because it's the dry season and there are few insects on the plants right now. They're coming to the ponds for water, so we've been able to collect a lot of them. These are domestic honeybees. These are different types of wasps. We have Hymenoptera that hunt other insects to feed their larvae. And these are different types of flies that came to drink from the pond. This is already a pretty interesting inventory.
For insect hunters, sheets are not only used for bedding. When stretched tight and illuminated with a strong mercury vapor lamp, a white sheet becomes a powerful trap. The light trap attracts fauna usually invisible during the day, as it hides on the ground, on trees, or in the canopy.
At least trees precious of fixing. Fantastic one.
We don't really know the entomological fauna of Madagascar. Even if there have been lots of studies done, much remains to be discovered, which is pretty typical when it comes to insects. We know about nearly 1 million insect species, but we think there's around 10 million out there. And 10 million is a low estimate. Some people think it's somewhere closer to 30 million or more, so there's still a lot to do. I bet we already have 1 or 2 new species here.
Rodolphe Rougerie is a night owl by default. As an entomologist specialized in Lepidoptera, which include moths and butterflies.
Now this is interesting.
Following in the footsteps of his predecessors, Rodolphe finds a moth he has only ever studied in a museum. It's his first time seeing one alive. It's called a Maltagore dura, from the Saturnidae family.
This chance to come to Madagascar and discover that Tsingy of Namoroka, and now to have captured this species, is really a beautiful and unexpected surprise. This will give us more to study and will help us grow the historic museum collections.
The Sphinx moths resemble fighter aircrafts and fly at high speeds. The fastest among them can travel at 55 kilometers per hour, so the light trap is the perfect way to catch them. Rodolphe examines the long mouth part of the insect called a proboscis. This mouth forages the flowers like a hummingbird, never stopping to rest to avoid predators. Before flying off into the night, the moth warms its wings. It then moves on, making space for other, smaller and unknown species.
Historically, biologists usually started out studying and classifying the most obvious species, the biggest ones. And generally, the closer we get to the tropics and the smaller the insect species become, the less likely it is that the moth species in question has already been classified.
Nighttime favors encounters and discoveries. Finding the Acrantophis madagascarensis in its natural habitat is a powerful moment. A close cousin of the boa constrictor, and poached throughout Madagascar for its meat or its high price in pet stores, this magnificent snake roaming in the dark is a survivor.
I didn't think I'd find this here. This is really an excellent discovery. This is truly a fantastic creature, which very few people have had the chance to observe. This one is almost fully grown. Like many boas, we can see remnants of small feet at the base of its cloaca. This one's a male. There are 2 small spurs over here. You can see them right by my finger. That's what remains of the pelvic girdle. It's very, very interesting and proves that the ancestors of the snakes were reptiles with feet.
There's a wide variety of herpetofauna in the Tsingy of Namaroka. Armed with elliptical pupils that pierce the night and sensory dimples that help detect prey, the Malagasy cat-eyed snake is over 1 meter long. It hunts frogs, rodents, and more. This tiny snake could actually make a perfect snack. The discovery of Stenophis citrinus is remarkable. No specialists have ever seen one here before. This Versifer chameleon only wants one thing: to sleep peacefully.
That's the ideal sleeping position. The tail rolled up, the hands folded. He's ready to sleep all night. As soon as the sun comes up, he'll go hunting. His eyes are open. Let's leave him be. Good night.
The mission continues. Mark is now taking some time to track down his favorite animal, the crocodile. A member of the crocodile specialist group, Mark believes that Tsingy are an ideal ecological niche for these saurians. But no one has ever studied them here, so we know nothing about their lifestyle in Namaroka, their migrations, or their evolution.
A little croc. That's great. Yeah, call your mom. I hope she's not around. That's pretty exciting. My guess is this little guy is 2 years old, but he's very small for his age. He's behind in maturation. When conditions are right, they can grow very quickly. But here the dry season in winter is long. He went quite some time without growing. But he can't be on his own. A small specimen like this likely means there are others nearby. I hope we see them. Let's keep going. There you go. Beautiful. He's gone.
The crocodile's capture didn't bother the kingfishers. Curled up like Christmas ornaments, they're asleep over the river. To stir the female's maternal instinct, Mark replicates the call of a baby crocodile.
There. Here it is. You see? Its nostrils just stick out of the water. The head goes down there. The body's hidden beneath the banks. That's great. Awesome. That's a pretty big one. It must be, I don't know, almost 2 meters long. We always thought these creatures spent the 8 months of the dry season immobile in a cave. This proves that they don't. They actually stay active. That's useful information. Let's start at the top. You go to the Baobab Hill, try to be there at 10. I want to see how they split up because they're in small groups. It'll be complicated, so as an option, you could go to...
Rock Canyon.
That's right, Rock Canyon. I have that in my GPS, so that's easy.
Okay.
Like every evening, Mark gathers the scientists and, one by one, coordinates their missions for the following day.
Iacopo, Pete, Laurent, and Desiree, is that it?
Yes.
Okay, what time are you leaving?
We'll leave pretty early. I think we'll leave around 6 a.m.
Leave at 6 a.m.?
6 a.m., yes.
That night, Before the team goes to sleep, something totally unexpected happens. Right around midnight, a deafening noise rips through the camp. Everyone's in shock. One of the tents has been completely pierced through.
I was sleeping and it woke me up. I thought I was having a nightmare. I didn't know where I was. I heard a sound like something big was rolling, but I never thought it could be boars. I was sound asleep.
Claire still can't believe it. A horde of wild pigs, boars with ginger-brown coats, caused a total panic as they ran through the camp. The hunt for clues begins.
For a DNA test.
Yes, that'll work.
Dinby was sleeping in the tent that was torn apart, but miraculously he wasn't even injured.
So he went that way?
No, that way.
Got it. He went that way. If you still want to sleep here, remember he'll probably come back this way.
Right into my tent.
Relax, it's just a pig.
A team of botanists, guides, and porters is en route. Following the Andriabe River, the researchers hope to penetrate the massif through the canyon that Mark spotted. Dry season is usually synonymous with struggle for plants and animals, but not here. This river nourishes a lush forest, and the harvest looks promising.
There's also fruit here. Des, there's also fruit. You see it?
Iacopo Luino from the University of Geneva and Peter Philipson from the Missouri Botanical Garden attempt to identify it.
Do you have an idea what it is?
It looks like it could be Pittosporum, but I'm not.
Yeah, I thought that.
Really sure.
Why is Namaroka home to so many different plant species? Dr. Laurent Gauthier from the Conservatory and Botanical Garden of Geneva has some answers.
Two explanations are possible. The first is that the plant got here by accident, completely by chance, for example. It was brought here by a bird. It's hard to eat a fig without also eating all the little seeds inside. So that's what could have happened with the bird. That's one way the seed could have arrived here and sprouted. The other reason that could explain the presence of this plant so far from its peers is that perhaps in the past, the forest covered much more territory here and was denser. This plant could have hence been growing here in abundance back then.
This one, yeah, for the last one. For the last one, okay. Yeah. So just dry fruits. Pete is taking some photo.
One of the things that's so interesting and so important is it remains very poorly explored, and it seems as though even the local people don't really know it that well. So it really is one of the sites in Madagascar that is really in need of the kind of inventory work that we're aiming to do.
The plant samples are carefully wrapped and then tied for transportation.
Can you see what's through the other side?
In this giant maze, many canyons simply lead to a dead end. But now there's no other choice. In order to go deeper, the team has to cross the massif through one of the many natural tunnels in the karst.
Anybody else got a lamp?
It's completely calcified on the outside.
But it's still alive.
Thick ropes hang from the ceiling. They're the power lines of the rock forest above, a sprawling network of roots dipping deep into the earth for nutrients.
This is about 8 centimeters thick.
The botanists realize that, much like the trunk of a decomposing tree, the charistic massif is slowly dying, disintegrated by water and overtaken by plants. That's how vegetable life is able to strive in such a hostile environment, where temperatures in the upper Tsingy sometimes exceed 50 degrees Celsius.
Wow, there's a clump of roots.
Look at that color, it's fantastic.
Look at those strange roots going in every direction.
Can you believe this goes all the way to the surface? And we wonder how the plants up there survive those high temperatures on a rock?
Yes.
Well, here's the answer.
Some of them have roots that come all the way down here.
The botanists have achieved their goal. They are now 4 kilometers inside the Tsingy, where no scientist has ever gone before. They have blazed the trail. Now other scientists can explore these canyons and caves that were once a hidden secret. Suddenly, an amazing surprise. They seem to have stumbled upon an oasis of life.
Wow, what is this thing? I've never seen this before. It's fertile. Show me. Show me. Show me that. Here, in just a few square meters, there's more life than we've seen anywhere else within the massif until now. It's incredible. There's so much.
In awe, botanists Catherine Reeb and Charles Rocotovao go from one discovery to the next, like this ground-dwelling, intriguing fluorescent plant.
It's incredible. It's totally neon-like, depending on the angle of observation of this layer of small plants.
Catherine studies the vast family of bryophytes, which includes moss, the most ancient terrestrial plants.
It's crazy and really surprising. It's just so beautiful to look at. As you can see, these plants are growing on bare soil that's just a bit humid, obviously. If I sit down, look at my pants, they're wet, because there's water in this soil. This is just so rare in a place like this, in Namaroka. They're colonizing bare soil.
The permanent humidity inside the massif is an unlimited life source for many species. For biospeleologists like Arnaud Fay, this water makes Namaroka a remarkable sanctuary.
The Namoroka Massif is interesting because we're on the western side of Madagascar, where it's very dry. This massif is like a limestone sponge. A chief characteristic of limestone is that it retains water. We know it's the end of the dry season, but there's still a big river here, which means water retention is extremely high. That's what allows this particular biodiversity to thrive.
There we go.
Romain's motto is simple: never give up on a thing you've been searching for a long time.
Take a look at this emacine bug. cave-dwelling. An astonishing species with sticky feet that are extremely small. This species probably feeds on very small prey and during the wet season. At this time, we never see them feed. We only see them move along the rock walls on the hunt for some hypothetical food.
Only creatures capable of adaptation can survive here, like the emissene with their thin body and slow movements designed to preserve energy. That's all we know about them.
They were discovered in the 1950s and were classified at that time. No one has ever seen or studied them since because of how hard it is to get to Namaroka. Sorry, I just noticed something I've never seen before. It's tapping its antennae to clean it. Normally, it would rub it like this. That's strange. It must feel comfortable, so it just made itself at home.
Deep within the cave, the botanists are not the only ones fascinated by the roots running from the ceiling and into the earth. In the 1950s, two researchers discovered a strange tiny insect named Typhlobrixia nemocorensis, or Typhlo for short. 70 years later, it may very well still be here.
There, by those small roots. Oh, wait, hold on. Let me get a tube.
There it is.
I think I got it.
Back then, no one knew that the Typhlo had an extraordinary gift. It seems to communicate by frantically rubbing its legs or its abdomen against the roots on which it feeds.
Here, have one wing and a second wing.
Yes. And I think I should also have a male in mine.
While the insect's vibrations can certainly be heard by its peers, the mysterious opera can unfortunately not be heard by the entomologists.
Well, that's great.
Perhaps a Typhlo audition will shed some light on the mystery. As an entomologist specialized in hemipteran species, Adeline Soulier-Perkins has every intention of recording the first ever Typhlo symphony.
We collected a few males and placed them inside this hermetically sealed box. We also placed a root at the bottom of the box, and I have this very small needle capable of reading vibrations, which I'm going to put in contact with the root. When the root begins to vibrate because of the insects, the vibrations will pass through the needle, which is connected to an amplifier. The amplifier is then connected to my recording device. At this stage, I can start recording as soon as the insect begins its communication process.
All that's left to do is wait for hours for the artist to begin its performance.
We passed straight through the canyon.
Laurent, Peter, Ayakopo and their accompanying team continue their long journey through the Tsingy.
It's great we made it here. The views are incredible. It feels almost unreal.
Yeah, even if we make it this far, where the canyons intersect, that would be great. And it's not far.
It's 120 meters. Look at that arch there. That's probably from a fossilized river. And this would be the Corbel.
Can we get through?
A single misstep anywhere along the steep path, and the explorers would fall. The trail is demanding, but they must hurry and collect as many samples as they can before nightfall.
Could that be something interesting? Are they behind us?
The Vazimba, the first inhabitants of Madagascar, are believed to have found refuge in these canyons and caves where they survived for centuries. In the center of the massif, the views are exceptional. The cliffs are over 100 meters high.
Can you try to get some of that?
Today, it's the scientists' turn to forage in this hostile territory in hopes of creating an inventory for future study and conservation.
Is that enough, or do we need more?
I think we have enough.
How many do we have then?
4.
It's certainly Sauridea madagascariensis, but whether it's really the same as as what goes by that name in the east of Madagascar, difficult to tell. I think Armand is doing some studies on it at the moment, and hopefully he comes up with something. But he'll certainly be happy to have material from here, I think.
As the mission comes to a close, it's time to check the traps. Thousands of insects will be collected. A small sample compared to the local number, but still a wealth of information for scientists. Hymenoptera, Diptera, Hemiptera, Coleoptera, Lepidoptera. The list is long, but the task of identifying them is even longer. Claire also collects her traps, these bright-colored plates she placed on the ground.
This, for example, is a wasp that preys on spiders. They're called Pompilidae. This one is too, just from a different species of Pompilidae. It's smaller and redder than the other one. My goal was to collect a maximum number of Ichneumonidae, which was a family that was extremely well studied in the early 20th century by a man named André Seyrig. He classified at least 300 of the 600 known species. What I want to do is to complete that collection, because I know he didn't collect much in this region. I think there's a strong chance that we'll find new species here that hasn't been found in other parts of Madagascar.
Between the heat, thirst, and aching muscles, every return to camp is a deliverance, a true relief. But for these researchers, every moment of suffering is worth a single chance to have a life-changing experience.
During a nighttime outing, I came across an absolutely fantastic creature. It's a big lizard from the gecko family, which are active at night and sleep during the day. This animal is interesting from a scientific perspective, but also remarkable simply for its spectacular beauty. In its description, I named it Blesodactylus, the name of the genus, and Victory, because animals always have a genus name and a species name.
In homage, Ivan was able to name this new species after his son, who tragically died. From this moment forward, this previously unknown species will be recognized by herpetologists the world over as Victor's lizard.
It's a tremendous pleasure to find a new species, especially one that's this big. It's just truly spectacular. Even more so because this species is part of the most primitive group of the genus and shares several characteristics with those from South Africa. As Madagascar was once attached to South Africa, that's very interesting.
Discovering a new species always presents a risk, especially for geckos, which are part of a thriving commercial industry. Let's hope these lizards are never captured by collectors who just want the latest fad. On certain special days, luck is all around. After years of searching, the plant Lucille so desperately hoped to find is finally in her hands.
We're lucky because it was starting to bloom, just enough that we were able to identify it. 1 week earlier, it wouldn't have been in bloom and we couldn't have known if this was it. It grows exclusively at the base of the Tsingy, in slightly sheltered areas. We had been looking everywhere with absolutely no luck. I was starting to think it had maybe gone extinct, but now I'm thrilled to know that it's finally found. It does exist.
Soon Tabernet Montana Calcarea decari, the plant we thought had disappeared, will be part of the Plant Hall of Fame, the Paris Museum's Herbarium, an event of true historical proportion.
As soon as she saw me with the plant, she jumped for joy. She was so happy. She was so happy she didn't know what to do with herself. She had almost given up. She didn't think that I'd be able to find it, but I did. She was so thankful.
When we left camp, I knew this was probably our last chance to try and find it. I believed in us, and we did.
We're actually all so tired that we can't physically jump for joy. We'll jump for joy later, but I assure you, I'm overjoyed that I could bring you all the way here and that you were able to find your plant. That's absolutely wonderful. I'm so happy for you. That's great.
One could easily call this a miracle. Who would have thought it would be here, in a jumble of plants and minerals, that Lucille would finally find her plant? This ecosystem is unique and complex, an isolated geological area that harbors an exceptional animal and vegetable kingdom that has had no genetic exchange with the rest of the world for thousands of years. After many long hours spent in the darkness of the caves, Adeline has finally made her way back to the lab. It's time to find out what the Tiflo has to say. Thanks to some clever technology, humans can now hear Tiflobrixia nemocorensis for the very first time.
To communicate with one another, these creatures use their bodies to create vibrations on the roots, which the others can hear. They use this type of singing to locate one another, or also as mating call, from the males to the females, so they can procreate. We're thrilled to have collected these songs, these vibrations, or this audio communication, if you will, by way of these little roots.
While Claire continues her observations and inventories, Catherine works on the samples gathered at the entrance of the caves. To capture the stunning fluorescence of the plant she collected, Catherine will need help from another specialist, Gernot.
It's very difficult to photograph, so if you could do something, it will be nice.
Yeah, it goes on the leaves, so that would be nice to maybe clean it first a little bit.
Yeah.
And I will get the tripods and we do the picture here. And
Okay. This plant's fluorescence can be explained in part by a thin layer of cells, which have at their interior a little section shaped like a lens. When the light enters that cellular layer, it gets scattered everywhere. It reflects off that rounded shape and then exits the cellular layer a bit differently, which causes the fluorescence. These plants grow in caves, which is a place with very little light, and where the light has characteristics that are distinctly different from full sunlight. This plant structure allows it to capture what we call wavelengths, meaning the most energetic part of the light, which it uses very efficiently, considering the low light conditions.
As the mission comes to a close, the team prepares a celebratory dinner. No one knows if the roasting boar is the same distracted animal that destroyed the tent. But one thing is sure, the villagers went out hunting and did not come back empty-handed.
This has been an amazing 10 days for us scientists. We've made plenty of discoveries. I think I speak for all of us when I say that we're incredibly happy with everything that we found here. With all the discoveries we made and all the explorations we accomplished, I want to thank every single one of you. Each of you contributed to making this mission a success. We owe this success to you all.
Thank you, Thierry. Thank you, everyone. We all know how difficult it is to set up such a mission. We've accomplished a lot, but there's still so much to do. So on that note, I'd like to remind everyone here, in case we need reminding, that this is an incredible place that needs preservation.
The joy of coming together to celebrate the end of a beautiful adventure is short-lived. A fire rages nearby on the outskirts of the Tsingy de Namoroka as hectares of wooded savanna tragically go up in smoke.
The ground you see here was completely burned and dried up in the sun. It even cracked in some areas because of the fires that are lit every year by inhabitants wanting to use the land as grazing ground for their zebus and then transform the area into rice paddies.
The moment this vegetation is set on fire, every insect is killed. Not only those in the vegetation, but also every latent insect, those hidden in the ground, in a cocoon or an egg, etc. All of them are destroyed by the fire, so by definition, any species that is sensitive to fire will be affected and become increasingly rare.
The damage is irreversible. Any species that goes extinct can never be brought back. It's lost forever, and we should do whatever we can to prevent that.
I think it's a really tragic loss. A huge loss from a scientific perspective, of course, because we lose access to so much information. But it's also a loss on a personal level, something I have a hard time tolerating.
The Namaroka expedition will cross hundreds of kilometers of moon-like landscapes as it heads for the capital, Antananarivo. Madagascar, this cradle of unique terrestrial biodiversity, is being disfigured. Tens of thousands of hectares of forest are destroyed every year. Today, barely 10% of the original Malagasy forest remains. In this context, it's easy to understand the importance of conserving all walks of life at all costs. With over 11 million specimens collected over centuries, the herbarium of the National Museum of Natural History harbors the largest botanical and fungal collection in the world, an invaluable treasure.
Martine, can you help me?
With the mission barely over, the researchers are already back in their laboratories. All the samples taken in Namaroka are unwrapped to be studied. For botanists Lucille, Martine, and Peter, it's time to begin analyzing the mysterious orange tree. All the packages containing the Hildegardia genus samples are carefully examined, as are all the related species samples.
I don't think those are our flowers. Let's double check.
It's the flowers, the reproductive organs of the plant, that make it possible to identify the species.
That was the last batch. We still haven't found anything that really resembles the orange tree.
Over the next few months, the orange tree may finally get a name.
So there's still a lot more detailed work using the binocular microscope, plotting the distributions of all of these on maps before we can definitely come to the conclusion it is a new species. But there's a strong possibility.
We now know that the tree with the orange flowers is a new species, one of the hundreds discovered by the scientists during their mission. All of them already have a single dream: a chance to return to this exceptional site that still harbors so many secrets. The Tsingy of Namoroka.